Welcome back to Peek into COS. This episode is brought to you from the Studio 809 Community Podcast at The Next Us, a professional cooperative environment for small businesses in downtown Colorado Springs. Today, I'm joined by Kelly McKay and Katie Mills, who run Aspen Aesthetics and Wellness. Welcome, ladies.
Thank you. Thanks for having us.
Nice to have you both here. So it's my understanding that Aspen Aesthetics is a women and veteran-owned business. Kelly, you're the owner. And can you share, I know you have a military background, and so can you tell the audience a little bit about what brought you here to Colorado Springs?
Sure, absolutely. We lived here previously.
Yep.
My husband and I both come from a military background. We went to a private military college for our undergrad. We were both ROTC scholarship, Army ROTC scholarship cadets.
Okay.
And we, really that was all we knew. So really just high school and then military life.
Yeah.
And we both commissioned right after 9/11 happened. And our life was defined by the global war on terrorism.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And we worked intimately in everything that involved. My husband is very operational. He spent the majority of his career in the Ranger Battalion, which is a special operations community. I started off as a nurse,
Okay.
As an RN, and I was at Walter Reed in D.C.
Were you
Yep.
there on 9/11?
No, we were still in our undergrad.
You were.
So we commissioned after 9/11 happened, but before OIF, before Iraq.
Yeah.
So Iraq started shortly after.
Yeah.
And, it was normal for us, and we didn't know any different.
Right.
Yeah.
How many years have you lived in Colorado Springs?
The first time we lived here was between 2015 to 2018.
Okay.
And then we moved. I was not on active duty at that time. So I got off of active duty in 2013 after 11 years.
Yeah.
I had completed my master's degree and then paid back my military commitment from all of that additional advanced education. And then Scott, my husband, stayed on active duty. So I was essentially following him around. And so we lived in Colorado previously, absolutely loved it. Always discussed coming back here, but never really had a solid timeline. My husband has been injured multiple times. He's very lucky.
Yeah.
And after he had another concussive TBI on a routine jump in 2020, he had post-concussive sequela, so chronic headaches and issues from frontal lobe injury.
Okay.
And so we decided that it was the right time for him to retire. He was at 20 years, so he retired. And we decided, where do we want to go now? Where do we want to settle down?
Oh, yeah.
Which was fantastic.
Yeah.
He was very interested in getting involved in tech and private business. And so we had, looked at a couple of options, and he had an opportunity with another private company here in town called BlueStack.
Sure.
So he was hired by BlueStack, and we came back here, and I still do anesthesia, and then we reestablished the business.
I love that. And let me not forget to thank you both for your service to our country. This city is filled with people who are still on active duty or have made a decision to come back. It's kind of interesting, in the tourism industry, we have people listening to this podcast who either live here or they're planning to come here. And one of the things that we want to warn you about is that we talk about that today's tourist is tomorrow's talent. Because when people, you lived here and figured out a way to come back.
Right.
There are people who come here on vacation. They look up, they see those mountains, and they say, yeah, I wonder if they have jobs here. This is a good sized city, and how does it work? So we just want you to know, as you're listening, to don't be surprised if you get a little tug that says, yeah, we could do this. And Katie, you're going to tell us your story now, how you got to Colorado Springs.
Yeah, so I've been in Colorado Springs. It'll be 10 years in February.
Okay.
So I went to nursing school. I grew up in rural Wyoming.
Mm-hmm.
Started volunteering on the ambulance when I was 16. That was kind of my first introduction to medicine.
Yep.
That was a wild ride as a 16-year-old. And then I went to school in northwestern Wyoming, was employed by their ambulance service, stayed in medicine, got a degree in outdoor education, and then moved to the East Coast for a little while, did the outdoor education thing, moved back to Wyoming for nursing school. So I did my associate's degree in Gillette, Wyoming, northeastern Wyoming again.
Okay.
And then when I graduated from that, I wanted to be not in small town Wyoming, but close enough that I could visit my family.
Sure.
So
Colorado
Springs it was.
Wow. So
Have the mountains, and I-25 is a direct shot home.
Yeah.
So
what year did you move here?
2015.
Okay.
Yeah,
That's right. So
yeah.
10
years.
Now. Wow.
It's crazy. But
And
yeah.
how did the two of you meet?
I was a client of Kelly's.
Okay.
Actually, yeah. Yep. I had a wrinkle in my forehead that was so deep I could hold a dime in it. So I went to Kelly and I said, please fix it.
It's gone now.
Yep. It is.
Wow.
Yeah.
Gone.
Gone.
Yes.
gone
You
now.
never
Let
know.
the
Record
Yeah.
show. It is gone.
Yeah. So I was a client of hers, and I had decided to open my own IV business last year.
Okay.
And she gave me great advice on that. And then when she got the opportunity to move into what is now Aspen Aesthetics and Wellness, she asked me to come on as the wellness director.
Okay.
So that's kind of how our merging came in.
I love those stories. That's just great. And so you have now a brand new location in the University Village Shopping Center, which for those of you who don't know Colorado Springs, just think Costco.
Yeah, Trader Joe's.
Trader Joe's. They're right between the two iconic stores here in Colorado Springs. Talk a little bit about the founding and opening and all that. How let listeners hear what it's been like to get a business going.
Well, I really wanted to bring on more services and more staff, but it was extremely important that it was the right location. Mm-hmm. And it was that location and the opportunity to move in that location that prompted the growth.
Yep.
Because of that location and what we could do there really just opened a whole other set of possibilities,
Okay.
particularly with our wellness services. And again, having military background, my husband being a wounded warrior, struggling myself with what aging in the military and just what life experience,
Sure.
both good and bad, brings as you age. I had 2 kids in my late 30s. I was very athletic, and I've got back problems and hip problems, and also problems just that I've been coping with since deployment, my own deployment.
Yeah.
So opening myself and also just knowing what our peer group and our community has been dealing with, we wanted to establish a more comprehensive clinic. Mm-hmm. And because we could add in whole body cryo, sauna, 2 red light therapy rooms, plus all of the IV and IM services, and really take anti-aging and comprehensive aesthetics and wellness to the next level, we decided it was the right thing to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
also be in a place that had such easy access.
Yes.
People are busy. I'm busy. I need to consolidate my day as much as possible. I don't have time to get from uptown to downtown and back and east and west and pick my kids up.
Yeah.
So when you can hit Trader Joe's, Costco, Aesthetics and Wellness, and
The bank.
Clean Eats,
Christie Sports.
all in the same trip.
And Cowboy Star, right?
all of the above.
All of the
Yep.
above.
Yeah, it's very convenient.
Yeah, it really
It's
is.
central. It's right off the highway. It's just easy to get to,
And
no
you
matter where you are
opened-
in town.
When did you open?
So we opened that clinic. We moved in on Labor Day weekend.
Labor Day weekend?
Labor Day weekend. And then it was 2 more weeks until we had a grand opening where we were full service.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. Well, let's talk a little bit. Again, we're talking to people who are either planning a trip here or they live here. And one of the things we know about visitors to Colorado Springs is the number one reason they come for leisure vacation is they get invited by friends and family. I mean, because there's a lot of civic pride here in wanting people to come in and see their town. I mean, it's
the mountains are intoxicating.
They are intoxicating.
And
I like
if
that.
you've never
That's
spent
a bumper
time,
sticker, isn't it?
Sure, we can make that a bumper sticker. Visit Colorado Springs.
Yeah, the mountains are intoxicating.
For mountain intoxication.
That's right. Just don't get pulled over.
Well, once you see a turquoise lake
There's nothing
surrounded
like
by
it.
mountains,
Yeah.
you don't need the ocean.
It's pretty special. So help people understand when they're planning a vacation, because that's what we do at Visit COS. Why should they include wellness as part of their itinerary?
Definitely because of the altitude.
Yeah, I mean,
Most people don't live in altitude, so they're not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You have no idea especially if you've never spent
Right.
time at altitude.
Yeah, I think a lot of people who are just not prepared for it, right? They come from San Diego. I live in Manitou.
Yeah.
And so we see people a lot who are like, I got here yesterday and I'm going to go up the incline right now. Not anticipating that they're much higher than sea level, or they're home starting and then they're going up a whole lot more.
Yep.
So at Aspen, our wellness, we have a pretty comprehensive wellness circuit that we do. So
let's talk in detail about that, because I really want you to, the standard line that most of us use is keep drinking.
Get more.
Hydrate, and when you think you're done, keep drinking, right?
Yeah.
So hydration is important, but why? Give us some more reasons of why they should acclimate.
Well, so in addition to the hydration, so we also have a hyperbaric oxygen therapy chamber. We're actually getting ready to set up our second one. That makes us really unique in the Colorado Springs community. So I like to call it our little blue submarine. You get into it, we pressurize it, and then we pump 100% oxygen into it. So that really helps your body process oxygen when you're at the higher altitude, which that just makes the transition a lot easier.
It can ruin your trip.
It can ruin
The altitude symptoms will ruin your trip. Nausea and headache, fatigue.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're not trying to scare you. We're trying to give you
Show you how we
a
can
reason
get you.
to really
Yeah.
make it much more enjoyable.
Yeah. So we have that. Going back to the IVs, a lot of people are like, oh, it's just IV hydration, which is a huge component of it. But we also, everything that we do can be completely customizable. So if we have people coming up with chronic illnesses that are getting flared up by being at altitude, lower oxygen, the drier climate, that kind of stuff, we can help with those. We have like a whole athletic performance and recovery setup that we add extra magnesium to. So it helps with the cramping, helps with the sleeping if you're dealing with jet lag, that kind of stuff.
Sure.
And then we've got compression that's going to help with any swelling if you've gone and done the incline, gone hiking. If you're in town and you go up and go skiing for the weekend, we can slap you in some compression, and that's going to help with any of that cramping and swelling and pain that you get.
There may not be a best answer to this question, but you use the incline as an example, and you live in Manitou, so you might know. Would you recommend that people come in for treatments and services before they do the incline or after they do the incline?
I would say we have benefits on both sides, right? I would say people are going to get the best result from it if they're traveling from low altitude to come in beforehand.
Yeah.
And if they're fairly acclimated to come in afterwards for their recovery.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's.
I like traveling in general just brings up other risks too. Yeah. You're exposed to all the germs.
Yeah.
You might want to plan on an immunity booster.
Right.
Yeah.
To again, hopefully, your trip doesn't turn into a wash because of illness.
Sure.
And then, when you have fun stuff planned, you don't want to miss out.
Well, that's it.
Yeah.
And we know we have a number of international visitors who come, and part of the difference I have always found about the international visitor versus the domestic is the international visitor knows how to travel better. They stay longer. And, we think a Friday and a Monday is like a vacation.
Right.
And we know it's not. And so for people who do come here, we have people come into our visitor center all the time that are, looking for some of the types of treatments that they can get at their home, country in France and Germany and Canada and Mexico. I mean, we do have. Have you found? I know you haven't been open that long, but are you seeing international visitors yet?
Not yet.
Not yet.
All right. Well,
But we're ready.
That's why we're doing
We're
this podcast,
excited.
right? We want people. People to listen because it is interesting. We really do want to help people have an experience that they will tell others about. I mean, we all know that you can go on and read every review you want, but there's nothing more credible than someone who has said, I have been to Aspen Aesthetics and here's what happened for me and how they would recommend it. And so,
well, it's a beautiful place to spend time as well. If you're looking for a more unique experience or a spa day, we can arrange for groups if you want to do a girls' night or a guys' night or all of the above. And again, it's not just for women. Men have great experience here as well, and their services that anybody can benefit from. And you have a lot of choices too. So again, you can really customize your spa day with a group of people. It's big enough. You can BYOB or BYOW, whatever you want. Again, hit happy hour at Cowboy Star on the way out.
Well, and there are people listening who may not know that our city was founded in 1871 by General Palmer, and we were founded on health and wellness. I mean, this is not a stretch in any way, shape, or form. When you look through our history, the people who first came here, they came here for the sunshine, and they came often because they had tuberculosis. And so TB was, an area, one of those diseases that people knew that good exposure to the sun was something that it's about what they had from a cure standpoint. And so our city, people have always come here to get better. Back then, we didn't have a term like medical tourism, but we certainly have people who come here for all the reasons. And the pandemic was another one that really, for us, we benefited in that people wanted to be outdoors. And they knew the power of our outdoor recreation and our trails and open spaces and all those things that make this such a great place to live and to work and to come play. So if you're planning and you're listening to this and you're thinking about, visit COS.com is a website that we'd like to think will help you plan. But we want to make sure a couple of times to get your web address out there so that people can be checking you out. So where do they go?
They go to aspen-elevated.com.
Aspen-elevated.com.
Correct.
Okay. And are you on Instagram as well?
We are.
Oh, we
Okay.
are.
All right. So people can follow you there too.
Our handle is elevated. Wait.
Aspen Elevated is our business handle.
What is
I'm
what is our
Elevated.
handle? Wait.
Elevated Wellness Katie. You're
I'm Elevated Aesthetics Kelly.
We have Elevated Aesthetics Sierra, Elevated Aesthetics Hannah. We have a great team of providers all the way around.
So from a brand standpoint, tell us about Elevated. Where did that stem from? How did that come to be?
Multifactorial.
Yeah.
We live at altitude. We experience what altitude has to offer, good and bad, the challenges of living at altitude, but the benefits as well, but also bringing a more elevated service and a more elevated client experience when you're spending time in our clinic.
With people come in that might be listening, do you have to have an appointment or can you just come in?
We have both options.
Okay.
If time allows, then we can definitely accommodate walk-ins.
Right.
If you want to make sure that you get a day and a time that works for you, then making appointments also a really good idea.
So you've been open now since Labor Day, 3 months or so?
About,
Okay.
yeah.
I don't mean to throw a flippant question out there, like just to say how's business, but who are you finding are your main clientele, and do they come in on a regular basis, or who are you catering to?
I'd say we have both.
Okay.
Both Katie and I had separate businesses before we merged into a single location. So we both have our regulars that we've been with for a longer period of time.
Right.
And they've been really thrilled with the expansion.
We have a lot of our regulars we've found have been doing a lot of crossover. So a lot of the people that I was seeing for IVs are now seeing Kelly and Sierra and Hannah for services, and a lot of her clients are now seeing me for services. And we have something for everybody, and I know that sounds so cliche, but we quite literally, we have an entire list of services on the website and conditions that we treat, and we do come in, give us a problem, and there's a high chance that we can do something to help improve it.
It's a great opportunity to get educated.
Yeah.
Because we have specialists for every set of services. And one person can't do it all. You can't be an expert in everything.
Right.
But we do have experts in everything. Hannah is definitely our skin expert. Katie is our wellness expert. And when I have a patient that I'm seeing for aesthetics and they start asking me something, or we're just conversing, we're just having a conversation about life, I really identify with my clientele. I feel like I am my clientele. That's how I got started.
Yeah, part
because
of the target audience.
I wasn't happy with
Right.
what I was experiencing myself in medical aesthetics, and I wanted answers. So, we'll start talking about life and family and aging and so many things, injuries. And I'll say, wow, you have to make an appointment with Katie.
Yeah, right.
I can't explain it the way Katie can.
Yeah.
And you will learn a lot about whatever issue it is that you have going on, and you'll learn a lot about what your options are, options you didn't know existed.
Right.
And that's how I got into this too. I'd never had an IV therapy. I'd never had any D+. And I didn't know anything about it.
Yeah.
And Katie taught me all about it, and it makes so much sense. It's scientifically based. It's proven. And then once you experience it for yourself, and it's scary, you don't know what to expect. Any D+ is a different experience than other IVs.
Yeah.
Yep.
And she makes it so safe.
Okay. Are there misconceptions about medical aesthetics?
Yeah, I think you just hit the big nail on the head right there.
Okay.
And so debunking a lot of those myths, I could get on a soapbox and talk for hours about my personal feelings about marketing and some other aspects about our medical specialty.
Okay.
But yeah, there's a lot of myths. And I think the biggest one for aesthetics, and actually I'd say for IV as well, is it either doesn't work, or that medical aesthetics, injectables, Botox, or filler is going to make me look fake or overdone. And that's not the case at all. Okay. When the work is done well, and when it's restorative or done in a way that's enhancing and balancing your features, then it's completely undetectable. But most people don't know that. When you're out walking around, you're like, oh, that person, their skin looks great. They look healthy.
Okay.
They look happy.
Okay.
And when, of course, it's overdone or done in a way that's unbalanced, it's very obvious that that's not a natural feature.
Yeah. Yeah. Katie, anything you would add?
Kind of in that same vein, I think, especially from the wellness perspective, a lot of things are really misunderstood still. I come from a healthcare background, was a cardiac nurse for 10 years, really kind of got to see the disconnect between the way that we were treating people and preventative medicine. And so I think we're kind of moving into this collective space where people are sort of starting to understand the importance of preventative medicine. I see a lot of clients who have kind of gone through everything they can in the traditional world and are now kind of seeking out other options. And so back to like what Kelly said, I think it's just education. I think, people come in, everything that we tell the people that we talk to and our clients and stuff, we have the research to back up. Yeah. I can pull it all up from a file on the computer, peer-reviewed studies that show I'm telling you these things, and this is why I'm telling you these things. These are the people who found out that it works. Yeah.
But when you have more choices, you have more empowerment to make the right choice for you.
Okay.
And so empowering the consumer, empowering anybody, don't just listen to others. Don't just listen to the internet.
Yeah.
Come in and find out for yourself. And, you know, again, we might have other suggestions that you'd never even heard of. You know, if something doesn't resonate with your values, maybe something that's synthetic or made by a pharmaceutical company is not something that you're comfortable with. You might not know that there's plant-based, totally biocompatible, or completely your own growth factor that's available for regenerative and restorative facial work.
That's wonderful. Okay.
Thanks.
Time's flying. Before we start to wrap, I want to give a special shout out to a fellow Studio 809 podcaster, Pedal the Springs. Pedal the Springs gives insider tips and secrets for cycling the Springs. Local Colorado cycling enthusiasts, trail and industry experts, and athletes discuss the variety of opportunities for recreational, road, mountain, track, adaptive, and professional cycling in Colorado Springs and surrounding areas. Listen and wherever you get your podcasts. Okay. So, ladies, I did tell you that as we begin to wrap, I've got some questions I want to ask you, and I'm going to ask you to both answer the questions, but Katie, I'll ask you the first question.
Okay.
And then we'll go to Kelly. So, in 3 words, how would you describe Colorado Springs?
Oh, man. I'm not going to put on the spot like this.
You can use my word. You can say it's intoxicating.
It is intoxicating. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a good one. We
It's
got that
elevated.
one out of the way early.
Yeah.
I think it's really welcoming.
Okay.
I think that it is adventurous.
Yeah.
I like to say the word lovely. It's just a lovely city. There's something here for everybody, you know.
Okay. And do you have 3 more you would add?
I'd say it's still wild.
Wild.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think
wild.
Colorado Springs is still wild.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
You can definitely have a great experience here when you're on vacation, get all the amenities, but still go out into nature and feel like you're on the frontier.
Yeah.
In nature, yeah.
Yeah.
That is for sure. All right. So Kelly, let's have you answer the next one. What is your favorite hidden gem anywhere here in the Pikes Peak region?
My favorite hidden gem. Well, I love, it's not hidden. It's in plain sight, but I don't think it's discussed. Pulpit Rock.
Pulpit Rock.
It's just such a great place to go up and see the valley and the mountains.
Yeah.
Beautiful. If you're here for a holiday like 4th of July, you can go up and it's perfect place to watch fireworks.
Yeah. Okay.
I just don't think people talk about it a lot because everyone talks about
Garden of the Gods.
Pikes
Yeah.
Peak and Garden of the
Yeah.
Gods. Yeah.
Katie, what would you say? Where's your go-to hidden gem?
My favorite place to be, especially in the summertime, is Cascade. Going up to Cascade and hiking out of there.
Yeah.
Green Mountain Falls.
Green Mountain
Yeah.
Falls up there. Yeah. I think Old Colorado City is, I think that people get really distracted by the bigger, newer parts of Colorado Springs, and Old Colorado City is definitely a
I love
Pretty
OCC.
special place.
Term wild again.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, we used to
It's
live
a
there
term.
when we
Yeah.
lived here.
Okay.
From 15 to
OCC,
18,
yeah.
we lived in
yeah,
OCC.
I love it.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, so Katie, would you say, here's the last question. What's still on your bucket list to do that you have not done in the Pikes Peak region?
Well, I'm just about to start undertaking mountain biking.
Yeah, okay.
So that's high on the to-do
sure,
list.
Sure.
And actually, this surprises a lot of people, getting to the top of Pikes Peak.
You have
I
not.
You
I
stole
rock
mine.
climb. I rock climb, and I haven't been to the top of any 14ers yet.
Okay.
So in 10 years of living here, I'm a little embarrassed to admit that, but
I'm
yeah,
in the same
I've
boat
never-
with little kids. You don't want to take a whole day away. You want to
Right.
be able to do family-friendly activities, and expecting a 3-year-old to climb up a 14,000-foot mountain isn't going to happen. And my kids are too big to be carried.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. Okay, so you're really on your bucket list is to get to the top of Pikes Peak.
Yeah.
And you'd like to climb it. It sounds like.
I would like to do a lot of climbing on
Yeah.
Pikes Peak.
Okay.
Yeah, there's a lot up there that I would like to get
All
to.
right. Kelly, how about you?
Yeah, the rock climbing is something I'm really interested in. And there's so many opportunities. Even just like walking through, we were just walking through Red Rocks last weekend, and we were just a nice little easy day hike, with the family. And
Sure.
every time we go by, there's just these beautiful face walls, and my kids start to boulder on there, and I'm like, we've got to just get some people together and
Do
go
it.
do this because
Yeah.
my kids would love it. And again, it's close, it's accessible. You don't have to pack the car. You don't have to get on a plane. It's right here. It's in our backyard.
Wonderful. All right, let's wrap it. And again, tell people where they can go to find out all the information they need about Aspen Aesthetics and Wellness.
Yep, you're going to go to aspen-elevated.com.
Okay? All right. And they can follow you on Instagram.
Yes.
Yep.
Okay. And
We have a TikTok
You're on TikTok.
and a
Okay.
Facebook.
All right.
All of it. Aspen Elevated.
You got all the bases
Yep,
covered.
Everything.
Okay. Thank you. I hope we have given both residents and visitors a reason to really think about their trip planning, and you don't just show up. I have friends that work at the Manitou Chamber who say that just exactly what you said, Katie. People will walk in and say, where's the incline? I want to go do it. And,
Yep.
and we, you can't profile people, but they will start to ask, so how long you been in town, and where are you from, and the next thing you know, we're trying to make sure that people enjoy their vacation and their experience
Yeah.
in such a way. And I think hopefully we have given some real tips today to how to prepare and how to recover while you're here. So thank you both for joining us.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, it was great
Thank
to
you.
be with you.
Thanks for giving us an opportunity to speak about the things that we love.
Our
Yeah.
pleasure. Thanks.